Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Care Manager's Inner Circle. What a fantastic book week we've had. So for those of you who might not know, we are very much celebrating amazing inspirational authors this week, whether it be on leadership, social care, and we've got one amazing lady tonight who I know very well, a fellow speaker on the social care stage, and also combined not just social care, but also about leadership. And so it's Sophie Coulthard, and let's bring her into the studio. Good evening, Sophie. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I feel like I'm there with you.
Oh, it's good. Well, look, lovely to see you. How are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a while actually with all this COVID malarkey.
Yes.
So I think the pair of us haven't spoken on anyone's stage in probably a long while.
No. It's obviously been quite isolating, I guess, for people that aren't working directly in the care sector. I know you do, but I've just spent the last 2 days with a care client, and it's just been so nice to be back with people. So yeah, really nice.
Great. So what have you been up to? I mean, before we start talking books, what have you been up to?
So over the last year or so, we decided to look at what we offer to our clients and how we can make it better. So we've been working a lot on updating our online training and things like that. So yeah, lots of kind of behind the scenes stuff that's now starting to get released to our care clients. So that's been really good. And then a lot of our clients have been looking more at the well-being aspect as well. The well-being of their teams, how can they support their well-being, especially people who might be returning to work or have been working flat out for the last however long, year and a half. So we've been doing a lot of work around that as well, which I've really enjoyed. That's my sort of special interest, let's say. So yeah, it's been really good.
I know. I mean, I've seen you speak many a time, and I've got to say you're quite sensational. When you get the combo between yourself and also your dad, Rob, is just brilliant. So what are you up to at the moment?
Yeah, sorry he couldn't be here. He's actually in Spain. He's on holiday. It was a bit of a last minute decision. He just had a gap in his diary and he went out there, and it's very rural where he is. So I don't think he's got the best internet connection. And also the last time he appeared on your show, he was in his pajamas, I'm pretty sure. So we couldn't risk that happening again.
He was. I've got to say, it was a great chat actually.
Yeah,
he goes, all right. So it's all a bit posh, isn't it? I said, don't worry, Rob. No, we're very relaxed here on the Inner Circle, but no, it was great, and that's why the whole week of authors has been great. And we've had some lovely guys and girls this week, and you're very much the final bookend, to coin a phrase, of this week. So for everyone watching, of course, a Saturday night, I'm sure there's other things I'm sure people will be getting on with, but of course, a lot of people watch this on catch up. So it's lovely to see you. So Sophie, so we're here to talk books, and I've got to say it's a fabulous book. You very kindly gave me a copy of one of the many care shows. It might have been the Care and Dementia show actually, about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and so just talk me through. I mean, I know it says, it's probably what it says on the tin.
What it says on the tin.
Handbook. But how did you go about putting this together?
Yeah, so how it came about really, we run leadership academies for care companies. We run sort of single workshops, and then what we will typically run is a 5-day leadership academy that's spread over about 5 or 6 months.
Wow,
and
okay.
the initial idea, it was my idea, I'll take credit for it as Rob's not here, was to just almost kind of get down on paper a bit of a kind of manual that we could give to people after they'd been on those leadership academies, so that they had almost a reference point that they could come back to and kind of have a refresh. And as we started to put that together, I said, well, this is a book actually, and there are plenty of companies, I know we're all aware of this, companies that can afford to invest in these types of training, which are not the compulsory training.
Yeah.
You know, not everyone can do that. So we thought if we can get some things down in a book that people can just pick up, have a flick through, or start from the beginning and work their way through, and actually start to get some tips and ideas that they can put in practice, particularly if they're a new leader, because that's where we see a lot of people struggle. And that's typically who we're running these academies for. But anybody really at any level, or an aspiring leader, or a person that's been a care manager for, you know, the last 20 years could probably still pick this up and take some ideas from it. So it went from kind of collating all of our notes to a fully fledged book, which we self-published on Amazon.
It is great. It's a sort of book. And even as you say, I mean, we can all learn. I mean, it doesn't matter, you know, no one's so arrogant that they know it all.
Exactly.
But it's great, and I've dipped into it many a time. You know, on goal setting, on styles of leadership. You always learn something you know, something new. And the things that I quite like, I like some of your questionnaires. Which is quite, you know, just tick box exercise, just to see if you're on track. But I love it. The sort of think mindset. There's some really nice models in here. And you know, just to discuss with your care team, actually. You know, something you can throw in. You know,
I think so. Yeah, there's things that people could take into team meetings. Like you say, the leadership styles questionnaire is always a really popular one, especially because how often do we think about how we lead our teams? Or we might have a thought in our head, oh, well, this is the kind of leader I am. But then you can take this questionnaire and it will, you know, give you the evidence. And I think a lot of people like to think that they are, you know, a coaching leader, or, you know, they support their staff, they empower their staff. And then when they take this questionnaire, they realize that actually they're a little bit more of a kind of direct, you know, do this, do that type of leader. Not everyone, but some people. And sometimes it's the nature of the work, isn't it? You're simply too busy to coach people and mentor people. You have to just tell them what to do. But is it always the right way? That's what that section of this book will help people to understand. So, and
what are you, Sophie? Are you?
Do you know what Rob always says? That I'm a pace setting leader, which is once you've done this, here's the next thing, and here's the next thing. So sort of consistently moving the goalposts.
Brilliant. But I mean, like any leadership style, you know, we aren't just one. You know, it's almost like the golf bag analogy. You know, you've got different clubs, different scenarios. So we all go through a range of one minute. Hey, you know, life's great. It might be the coaching. The next minute, you know, the pressure's on, and you become very dictatorial. You know, we haven't got time. Let's get on with it.
My exact example of that is if you are sat in your office as a care manager and you see CQC pull into the drive, are you going to start saying to everybody, so what should we do now? Let's have a discussion. Let me be an affiliative leader about this. Or are you going to say, right, everybody, action stations, you go and do this, you go and do that. You know, it's finding the right style for the right time. And you don't have to be one style of leadership. You can use the different styles as you need. I love that section of the book. I'm glad you brought that up.
Actions on CQC turning, just say you've got a COVID outbreak.
Yes.
So that's our actions on. No, it's not actually, but anyway, if CQC is watching, no, it's not. But no, it is great. So what else is going on in Sophie, you know, in Sophie's world?
I'll probably good time to drop in it personally. I just in case anybody sees me sort of dash off the screen quickly, I've got a little 11-week-old puppy who is asleep on the floor beside me, and so far he's been really good. But I have had a couple of meetings where I think I'm in the clear and then he wakes up, and you know, I've got to suddenly grab him or let him outside. So just to warn everyone if that needs to happen.
No,
So he's been taking up my life. Pardon?
We'd love to see him.
Oh, if he wakes up, I'll hold him up to the camera, but he doesn't really like it. He doesn't like being picked up. But yeah, he's taken up a lot of my time at the moment, but just looking forward to getting through that initial training phase. It is definitely testing all of my leadership skills at the moment.
Great. So, go on, tell me about the judgment index, because you know, some people might not, you know, be aware of that.
Yeah, so people, if people know, and obviously, you know, but people may not know that me and Rob, who's my dad, we work together, and we're Judgment Index. So we're a company. We work with all types of different industries, but primarily we work with the care sector, care homes, care domiciliary, and we do things like the leadership academies, which I mentioned earlier, and then we also use an assessment, which is a values-based behaviour assessment, is probably the best way to say it. And our care clients use it for part of their recruitment process, part of their kind of values-based recruitment process, I guess. And they also use it for development of staff as well. So that's obviously a huge part of what we do. We're often publishing bits of research that we found as well. And there's some in the book as well. At the start, we did a piece of research a couple of years ago on outstanding rated managers, and the findings were really interesting. So all of that's in the book as well.
That's right, because you've got a podcast, haven't you?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, this is where you start to list off everything that you do.
Because that's how I first got to know about you. It's through your podcast. You're outstanding. Is it Outstanding Leader? Or the Outstanding
The Road
podcast?
to Outstanding. Yeah. So I actually launched that podcast off the back of running a leadership academy for a care company who had an amazing, outstanding rated manager. And I was asking her all these questions. Why do you think you're outstanding? What did you do? And she's telling me all these stories of the things that she did. And I thought, wow. I said, I'm sorry, everyone must ask you this. And she said, they really don't. And I thought, why is this story not being put out there?
Yeah.
And I thought, what would be a good way to do that? And I had a little search. There didn't seem to be any podcasts for the care sector at the time. And I thought, well, how hard can it be? So I launched a podcast. Jessica from London Care Partnership, that's the lady that I'm speaking about. She was one of my first guests. And I took it from there.
That's right, because you've done a number of people who have. I think didn't you interview Isaac Theophilus?
Yes, Isaac. Interviewed Isaac very early days. Great conversation. Obviously, I've had Neil on. The podcast is finished now. I haven't done a series in about a year or so. I'd just done. I think there's over 100 episodes, and I thought that's probably enough for now.
No, I didn't. Can people still access it?
Yes, I still get people message me now. Quite active on Twitter as the podcast, The Road to Outstanding, and I still get a lot of people message and say, "Oh, I listened to this episode," and I think, okay, so there's nothing on what's been going on in the last year, but I think so much of what people share is still relevant. And lots of great ideas of how people think that they achieved outstanding and the work that they've put in, and kind of sharing those ideas, which is what it was all about, really, and celebrating successes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the last year, I've got to say, the last year has brought out the very best in people. It's also highlighted the very huge chasms in social care as well. You know, and those people, regrettably, who might have been lacking in terms of leadership, who might have been lacking in terms of, possibly no through fault of their own, you know, they've also equally been found out. You know, the power of communication, the importance of communicating with your team, you know, the empathy of what they're going through, and literally standing side by side in the trenches with them, with bayonet fixed, has just been, you know, so important.
I agree, and it's hard because I know that there's been so much on the legislation and the protocols and the rules are changing all the time, and it almost ends up being very kind of a task driven type of role, I guess, for a leader or a manager in care. And you've always got to remember that human side of it. You know, and I know that sounds like such an obvious thing to say, but that I bet that's the kind of leaders that have really stood out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I always say you've got to establish a place of work which people feel safe, they feel secure, they feel valued, and whilst this might sound, people say, well, we know all that, but there's a lot of places that aren't like that. You know, people don't feel safe, they don't feel psychologically, physically, mentally safe because of the leadership, and some leadership environments can be totally and utterly toxic. You know, that the people haven't been on your courses. And also you can get, in the same way you can get truly outstanding, phenomenal leaders, you can also get some very, very bad leaders, you know, and of course they exist in care as well. And people will know who they are. You know, that's just the way it is in every organization.
And they do say that people don't leave their job, they leave their manager. So they leave their boss. I mean, the whole ethos of the book that we wanted to put in there really is that you start with yourself, you lead yourself first, and everybody is a leader, even if you are, you know, somebody who comes in and works part-time a couple of days a week and has no kind of, you know, responsibility in terms of leading others. Let's say you're still the leader of yourself. And so the book is really about starting there, like leading yourself first, then leading others, and then leading the culture. So it kind of, that's sewn through.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. So what's the next thing for you? So I've got my two dogs just coming as well. They're looking for the kitten, right? They're looking for the kitten. And kitten's hiding over there.
I see the pictures of your dog walks, Jonathan, and I'm quite jealous because I am looking forward to him getting big enough that I can get out there, you know, into the fields and things with him. So
it'd be great. So whereabouts do you live, Sophie?
I'm in London. I'm kind of Putney, Wimbledon area.
Okay.
So I've got Richmond Park down the road. I've got Wimbledon Common. Although it's London, I've got a lot of green around me, which is nice.
And is Dad near you? I mean, where's Dad?
No, luckily. He's down in, obviously if anybody is familiar with Rob, he's from up north, as they say. He's from the sort of Manchester area, but he lives down in Wiltshire, sort of very close to Stonehenge. So there's enough distance between us. We're not together all the time. But yeah, we do. Obviously, we've done things for you where we've got up and spoke together, or normally at the shows we're together. So,
hey, ow! I'm just having a cat and dog fight here.
Oh no!
It's all going on in the inner circle. Have you got any care shows coming up, or?
We don't really have anything coming up. I know that the care show's back in October, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to. You'd love to see if you want to speak. Let me know. I'm sure Michael's got. I mean, you're such an amazing speaker, So there's always room for Sophie and Sophie and Rob.
Well, I'll come up anyway because I miss everyone. So it's always nice to run into everyone and have a good catch up.
We're going to be, just for everyone, so the Care Managers Inner Circle annual conference has been held on the 13th and 14th. The vast majority of the conference actually is going to be held on the 14th. So we've got 6 amazing speakers spread across those 2 days, but the main sort of bulk was going to be on the 14th. But we've been very kindly gifted an amazing stand. I mean, it costs a fortune, these stands. It's 7x4, and it's going to be the Care Managers Inner Circle meeting point. And so that's where everyone comes together and they can meet in the flesh. And it'd be lovely to see you there. And you're going to be there because, of course, as you might or might not know, the battle cry for the Inner Circle was, battle knickers on over the whole of the pandemic. And the biggest pair of Victorian bloomers are going to be suspended right above the Inner Circle. So it's just going to be absolutely amazing. We've got walking lines. So it's going to be quite a visual spectacle.
I
But
bet.
all there, just to see each other.
Yeah,
And
I think for anybody who's a sort of supplier or a who works with the sector as a trainer or something like that, who's not been around the people that we're do miss our clients, and I know we're getting back in there now, but yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to catch up with people.
It's great. Well, look, Sophie, look, a huge thanks. Lovely to see you as always. And
Thanks for having me.
you're not in your pajamas, so
no, not quite. I've just noticed I've got all my words for the puppy up on the whiteboard behind me, so that as we're training him, we're using the same words.
Oh, really?
Like leave it and get it and things like that.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, well, look, Sophie, a huge thanks. You're an absolute star. I put the book, as you can see down here.
It's on Amazon. So
there you go. Where can they find it? Where can they find the book?
Yeah, just go. Obviously, if you want to go to the Judgment Index website, there'll be a link there. But if you just go to Amazon or just even put the Care Leaders Handbook into Google, it does come up. So, yeah.
Great. Well, look, I wish you all the best. It would be lovely to see you at the Care Show, 13th and 14th of October at Birmingham NEC. Come over to C52. Just follow the big knickers, and you'll be there. So, Sophie, I'll bring you back into the green room just to let me sum up. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was amazing just to see Sophie. Please, you can see her book. It's absolutely fantastic. She's an absolute star. And also the Judgment Index. Get them along. I've seen them both of them work together. It's an amazing training course on leadership. So please consider Rob and Sophie, and hopefully we'll see you all at the Care Show. Have a good night. That's summarize. That brings to a close the Care Managers Book Week. I hope you found it inspiring, and we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.